What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with a convict's perspective, and I'm smashing, dashing, sliding on through that little bit of energy. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support the channel, and hit that bell notification for bomb ass content, man. We're gonna keep this fire coming. So today, as we're premiering, I'm gonna discuss where I think the future is gonna lead with this new relationship that I've been hearing about between Nortenos and Surenos that's been developed since all the way back as 2015. This is a good discussion, man. Now you're gonna have, of course, the internet warriors, youngsters that are gonna feel a certain way about this, man. But I think anybody who's been part of the casualties of war can, in some sense, find some good in what's been transpiring. Um, I've been told several times through several different sources that in the prison, the Nortenos and Surenos are good. They're spreading, they're doing máquina together, they're doing rutina, they're showing respect, not only on the main lines, but in the shoe as well, right? Um, and this is something that's I never thought I would hear ever, man. Like this is just such a crazy long war that's been going on amongst North and South, and all it took was like-minded individuals that had a common goal to push forward and to quit being biased and prejudiced, seeing that in being that way towards each other, it was counterproductive. Now, there's still a long path, that's to continue forward. The streets are the streets. Southern California, I look at it like this. They've been going at it with each other on the streets for as long as they've been around. You know what I'm saying? So whatever's going on up north between Nortenos and Surenos, that's just the same thing as vital warfare down south, man. It is what it is. Now, there's certain individuals who hold a certain animosity I've been hearing that they're okay with individuals from LA, San Diego, Santa Barbara, individuals that aren't up north. But there's still those who hold animosity to those banging sued up north, which is understandable. But as far as the ones that are traditionally down south, I heard a lot of Norteños and Northerners and whatnot don't really have no issues. They have no beef on the streets. They have their own issues down south, whereas upstate, it's a whole different ballgame with Norteños and Sureños. Now, the way this is going, man, and I've heard of a couple incidents. I heard that a Sureño got rushed. I forgot where it was at by an SNY group, and the Norteños jumped for him. This wasn't that long ago. I've heard that every household where Norteños go to now, the HHPs have established, you know what I'm saying, that this is part of their guidelines to jump for any Sureños that's attacked by any other race. Okay, same thing. The Sureños have the same reglas. So there's a common understanding, there's a common respect, man. And it seems like the vision that Cheyenne had is starting to come true. Now, the feds is a whole different ballgame. You know what I mean? That all stems from when Skip and them hit Sheridan, and they were trying to pretty much impose certain restrictions on how many Nortenos could be on the yard and this and that. That's why the feds have a very, very different outlook of things. Plus it was get out back then. Some of those old timers, you know what I mean? But they got their own yards. They have yards where they're on the same yards with the Texas cars. You know what I'm saying? These groups have to coexist, especially with the amount of SMY. So, like I said before, when Skip did his TikTok thing, I said if I was active, I would have to be siding with the feds. But if I was in the state, who knows where it would lead me. But now that I'm not active or nothing like that, right? And I want a positive message. I'm about unification towards common goals. Even though the unification now is more towards illicit activities basically on these yards, but I'm more about those that are given a chance to where they can go to a yard and be able to function and program and enjoy prison and the time that they have to be there and learn a trade, learn a skill, learn to develop certain traits that you can't develop when you're always at guerra and war or battle, So it's kind of it's a trip, and at the end of the day, man, you know, sometimes people have to put their ego to the side. And sometimes the casualties of war, sometimes you got to sit there and acknowledge that, hey, those were needed at the time being. But let's create a change so we don't have to have further casualties. Like I said, the laws, the Constitution, the past may say one thing if I was active, but now today I think it's a positive thing, man. I used to trip off this when I used to talk to my vecinos. I've told these stories many times, man, about giving paquetes, playing the fucking Wedigo over the fucking chairs and chests, sharing revistas, or even drinking Pruno for my birthday with some Southsiders in the shoe. Those are the type of reports that I was able to developed when I was active, and I started to trip out. I was like, man, some of these individuals, they're solid dudes, man. You know, there's some Nortenos that were my gente, and I couldn't stand them. It's just that's the truth of it, man. There's gonna be Surenos that you're not gonna like, and there's gonna be ones you like. Same thing with Nortenos. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's why you have the option of who you want to hang out with. Now, if this is a unified under one bandera, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how that would work. You know what I'm saying? As far as you have different titles, you have NF and MA. Unless they were to create something that was a whole totally different faction, and then everybody under it was just a Rasa. You know what I'm saying? Bisas or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully you probably would maybe allow the Bulldogs to come back. You know what I'm saying? Into the fold, and maybe they could screen some of those SMY situations. And let NF and MA get back to what they want to do as far as criminal activities, and those that want to run those criminal activities, and let Rasa do what they want to do on those yards. Go back to how it was in the 60s and 70s, where you could associate with someone from wherever. You could be from whatever body, it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And if you wanted to be involved in prison politics, the organizational business, and you wanted to do some illicit activities in freelancing, you make sure you pay those dues. You know what I'm saying? And whenever it was an issue of Rasa, boom, you already know what time it is. That's what I think what it would take for this to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I think that you'd have to give those that when SMY, some of them an option to come back. I'm thinking because not everybody left on bad terms. Some people weren't with the politics. Some were bad calls, but you'd have to evaluate all that, and then therefore you give gente the option what they choose to do. There ain't no mandatory fucking get up and do machina or get up and do this. You can program, strength in numbers as well. Doesn't mean you lax on your program, but you let everybody do their individual program. If they get themselves correct, that's on them. No more controlling, no more rules, no more dictates. You know what I mean? You have the political figures, the criminal organization. If you choose to associate with them, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the red raza from whatever hood, gang, or whatnot. Now, I know a lot of people are going to feel like, oh man, I've been repping this North Day my whole life. Hey, you can still say you're from up north, North Day. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, think of how much more could be achieved, not only in prison, but out there in the streets. And you don't have to involve yourself in shit that doesn't concern you at times. A lot more people would be able to go home. And those that get caught up for fucking dealing with issues that are fucking drug tests and whatnot, that's on them. Everybody can be accountable for their own actions as a man. And I thought this topic was interesting because I've been hearing that this has been really being pushed hard. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the feds is against it. You know what I'm saying? Which I understand their position. But if I'm going to talk about the betterment of the gente in general, they're gente as well. And that was always what was taught to me. It wasn't about the betterment just of the Northern Raza. It was about the betterment of anybody worthy. And if you have a system like that, you basically have the option of who's going to be proven to be worthy. Either they're going to be a dolphin that's up to no good and does nothing with themselves. They're going to be a fucking soldier and trying to obtain status within this organization. Or they're just going to do their time and become better men. Think how many people went to prison and did not get to sit there and learn a trade. Didn't get to go to school. Didn't get to do the things that other prisoners got to do because there was always fucking something going on politically that affected you, whether you were involved in it or not. You know what I'm saying? You got to go do it, gotta, boom, handle it. You go back to this system, you find out where everybody is as a man. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you there'll be more relationships that people will develop from areas they never thought they would be able to. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be kind of like how it was in the 60s and 70s. Talking to Fig and Bo and all them, that's how it was originally. You can't let people, whatever's going on at the top, let them deal with that amongst themselves. All this stuff was basically based upon a lot of propaganda. You know what I mean? There's been so much stuff that I've seen from the MA side, what they claim, and NF side, that there's been so much stuff that's been proven not to be true, that you got to question everything in general, man. Was all this really worth it? I get it. There's people who've lost their lives. They've sacrificed. But hey, there's people that lost their lives in Japan. There's people that lost their lives in Korea, Vietnam. Yet we're not holding any grudges over those situations, are we? Same thing could be said here. Sometimes you got to forgive in order to fucking heal and move forward. And I thought this topic was something that people could think of. And I'm not thinking about a super gang, guys. Like some people might be thinking, oh, they'll run the system. Yeah, they will if they need to be. but I'm thinking you can allow people to be themselves. Still have those little political boundaries, you know what I'm saying, and not ever become oppressive towards other inmates. That's the key thing, man. Don't ever become oppressive towards other inmates or your own. And that's what the inmate fucked up in the beginning, was they became such a criminal powerhouse that they oppressed their own people. You know what I'm saying? Which gave birth to so many different groups, whether it was the fucking Black family or the Aryan Brotherhood or the fucking NF. The threat of oppression will always fucking lead people to fight back. Every movement is built off it. So if they can limit it, have a structure that works, I can see them doing something like that. Is it gonna happen today? No, but they're already making steps to being in unity. Now, I remember I talked to a Southsider. I can't say his name, right? He's active, and he told me that prior to the end of all hostilities, they had a roster of every Norteño and NF member that questioned the end of all hostilities, that was not in agreement with it, as well as the NF had one a list of all the Surenos who were in question. Therefore, it became an issue. They already knew what time it was. See, they've been working on this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? There's interstate compact going down where you can go down south and up north, and it ain't no fucking issues no more. You know what I mean? So there's been meetings over there in San Jose, right? I'm not going to say the individual's name, but I'm pretty sure people know what I'm talking about. Out there on the east side by East Ridge, where there's been meetings with hella homeboys, and there's been Southsiders who've been at those meetings from down south. You know, those are facts. There's been a lot of things that people don't understand that are going on behind the scenes, but between North and South that I don't even know, but I hear the rumblings. You know, and since YouTube, think about it. People have got to, interact with a lot of us, and they get to see us for, like, even though we're not all fucking actively in the mix like that no more, they get to see who we are and how we act and how we react and how we think. And people are starting to get a little different perception. Both these vultures are like this. Okay, I get it. I get where they're coming from now. And it's opened doors, man, to where I've had conversations with active Southsiders. You know what I mean? Not a lot. Like I said, business is business. But there's a few that tap in with me. You know what I'm saying? And they have a more of an understanding about the past. And that's the thing too, man, is in order for this to happen, the past is the past. It needs to be let go of. You know what I mean? You can't continue to fucking beat it. Well, they did this, they did that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff is not even true that we've been taught at times, man. Yes, the enemy were oppressors. Yes, they did hit a lot of fucking innocent fucking, raza on these yards. They oppressed them and did all that stuff. But after the 70s, it kind of settled down. By the 80s, man, this is a fact. The MA has not had any concern about the NF since the 80s because they really didn't have access to each other. So they weren't of a concern. They were more focused on controlling the streets, their businesses out there. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the NF at times would use this as a recruiting tool for the young Norteños to keep them in line, keep them in check, and understand security and whatnot. Now, if this goes down eventually, what they've been talking about, Raza, United Raza, and so forth, it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying? In the California system, I don't think it's going to force different groups to maybe build different relationships and alliances. You know what I'm saying? It's going to force other groups to start to have different procedures. Whereas a lot of the blacks may have to go back to the previous security procedures. Not saying that there's any issues or Norteños have any issues with blacks, but it's going to force them to have to secure themselves because that's a force to reckon with. You know what I'm saying? The whites, you already know they've always been, they've always had a solid relationship with the Southsiders to a certain extent, but they got it from the Southsiders too many times. And so pretty much there won't be no use for them for any of these groups. The Africanos won't really be any use to the Norteños and vice versa. And the whites ain't going to be any use to the fucking Southerners. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to be no fucking, you know what I'm saying? Okay, we're going to fucking have an alliance relationship. And that's where people went wrong, I think, in the beginning. Like Vic said, the AB was involving himself in a war between the NF and MA, Raza and Raza, right? That was a big issue with a lot of familianos. That's why there was a lot of hate towards the AB at one time. Now, they have a good relationship today. Think about it. You can go on a yard and walk a yard with AB, NF, and MA. I never fucking thought that would happen. Now there's potential for them to fucking unite. They're fucking spreading on September 16th, working out together, playing cards, games. They've got off in riots. Both sides have helped each other. The only ones that are going to be able to stop it is those that are going to hide behind keyboards or that are going to talk smack and try to fucking instigate stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? But I also think that both these groups have one common enemy. That is fucking dropouts. Dropouts in SNY groups are starting to outnumber these active groups fucking hella. So in order for them to fucking hold on to what they have, I think this is also their only play as well, though. I think it's a smart play because if these SNY groups ever get together and form and reunite on the streets, there's going to be some issues out there. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, none of these groups really take their activities to the streets yet. But when that does happen, you're going to have a whole lot of, you're going to have a shitstorm, man. And if they do that on a prison yard, it's going to be war again. You know, once again, pick your poison. So that's why I say that it'd be smart for them to bring back, you know, like I said, in that same system of today. Let them do as they want. They want to come back and they haven't committed certain crimes or done certain things. Let them come back to the yard. Let them go GP. The more the merrier, but let them run their program the way I'm saying everybody should be able to run. You know, the way it was in the 90s, you know. Unless you had a big homie on that yard, you were basically able to do what you wanted to at times. You know what I'm saying? You were a convict. You did your day-to-day functions, did your job, came to work out, and if shit had to get off, you were ready to get off. But other than that, you were able to do your time. Those that pushed politics, those were the ones that had to push that line. Those were the ones that had to go out there and secure the fucking yard every day, get the DTRs, do all this stuff. But they chose to do that. You know, that's another reason why so many people dropped out in their late 90s, early 2000s was they started to make everything a participation by mandate, which means certain functions within the household were now mandatory, not an option. This changed the element. But can you imagine what can be acquired? Being from up north and being able to go down south and do business like the backpack boys have been doing. Gold toes. So this shit's been, like I said, this shit's been going on. There's been interactions, man. You know, if you think all this stuff that's been going on out there in the streets and all that has just been some fucking out of nowhere, nah, this has been in the works. And I think it's only going to continue to grow. I'm not sure if there will ever be like one group. They could each keep their individual titles, but coexist. You know what I'm saying? Defend Raza like they were supposed to from the beginning. Get away from all that other shit, man. Let the Northerners and Southerners have their fun on the yard, do their program. They want to politic, let them politic. You know what I mean? There's always going to be room for a new soldier to fill a spot. Okay? But there's not much room for people to go out there and take advantage of everything a prison has to offer to go home. And that's what needs to happen more. You know what I'm saying? If people care about the gente, maybe this is something that could maybe bring something greater than what it is. You know, that's just my personal opinion, man. You know, I never got to enjoy certain things, man. I was in the shoe, it was locked down. I was always ready for get out war. You know what I mean? That's what life is in prison. And that fact that they've been able to change that element, man, this is a lot. Anyways, like I said before, people thought that my response on the TikTok video about what Skip said, in reference to that, if I was active, that's how I would feel. I'm not. I'm not about that game lifestyle. I'm about being a man. And I think this allows everybody to be a man if they go down this route. And it seems like that's the pattern. Now, of course, they're all individually doing their functions, their household policies, their reg laws, whatever it may be, but they're coexisting. And with that, more relationships will grow. Anyways, this is Flacco Convict's Perspective. Thought this would be an interesting topic. I'm gone.